We kind of really needed to do an explanation video and explain to you how we got to where we are right now.
And kind of like a, also, we've already been through so much of the selling our house and trying to move and everything. Kind of explain, we're glad we're done with that, pros, cons, whatever. Explain that process a little bit.
So right now we're sitting in the new RV. That's going to take some getting used to, there's no doubt. So, like we said in our past video, I think it was part 4, we had some decisions to make about timeline. And this right here was one of our options, but it was definitely not one of our first options.
We kept, just blowing it off. That's, we can't do that. That was definitely a last resort in our minds for a long time.
The biggest reason is because it's expensive. People tell you that this is cheap to do.
It's not cheap to do.
It's not cheap. Look up the price for one of these things, and your brain will be like mine. It'll turn mushy, and your ears will start bleeding.
No,
your face will turn white.
It's not quite like that.
She doesn't have to pay for it.
But ours. Common law, even we're way past that point.
So we're just doing an unedited video here, to where we're just gonna sit here and have a conversation and kind of go back and forth about
and explain
about
really going on.
Really what we did here. So we had a few options. We knew there might be a lapse in timing here. We had a couple.
We don't know when the transfer is going to go through. It's going to happen soon, but there's no telling what our timeline is. So that's a huge variable in this whole equation that is kind of it's played a big part in especially this decision.
Not only that, but that's just one part of the puzzle here. The other part is that when we put the house on the market, it sold incredibly quick. And typically whenever you put
3 weeks?
Yeah. Typically when you sell your house, the buyer is going to be getting a loan. And so
a specific type of loan.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is typically when they have that loan or they're getting that loan, it's going to take 30 to 45 days before closing. Mm-hmm. In our case, we had a cash buyer for our home, which meant
it was 19 days or something.
I think it was 17, wasn't it? 18.
I don't know. It was around. It was less than 20.
Yeah.
So
we had no time. So this went from, okay, let's put our house on the market, which you guys have seen the videos, to holy poopy
mackerel.
We have 18 days to get out of our house. So
that got real quick.
Very quickly.
Very real.
But here's the good news, though, is that everything has really, really gone very smoothly. As far as selling our home, besides, it was very stressful because of how many showings we had, especially on Meredith. But, Meredith is the quintessential woman, the quintessential wife, the quintessential mother, and so she works super duper hard. People out there that think that being a stay-at-home mom is an easy thing, you are out of your freaking mind. And you come see me and talk to me, and I'll explain to you why.
I'm glad you're my biggest advocate.
No, that's true. She works harder than I do, and yeah, I put in the wrench time. I do it, son.
Well, we both work hard, but we both work together to work hard to make our family work, and that's really, at the end of the day, that's what's important. But going back to the showings and
I'm getting up. Go ahead.
Going back to the showings, that was tough. I thought that was going to be, at that point in time, I thought that was going to be one of the hardest times in all of this because it was just a lot of work. I had my house, kind of cleared out. It was staged. It was, I really liked it because it was super clean and pretty all the time because I didn't know when people would want to show up. But that was really stressful. And then we got to this point, and I was kind of like, okay, well, maybe I underestimated the showing part. That was actually pretty easy looking back on it.
Yeah.
It was time consuming, but it was pretty easy. And now we're kind of in the point where it's go, 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 go. As soon as you wake up, there's somebody you got to call. There's something you got to do. There's an email you got to send. There's, I don't know how many I really don't know how many times I talk to you a day right now, but it's probably like an insane amount.
Yeah, we talk for a considerable amount of hours a day right now because
It's
you know
insane.
I'm typically out of town. I'm out of state typically, and so all of my end of this deal is all done on the telephone. Like literally, we bought this guy over the telephone. That's the way it works. So, but
And then we were booking flights
Yeah.
and doing all kinds of
but
crazy stuff.
we had a couple of different options. None of them were ideal, and mainly because this transfer could go through in a week, and it could go through in a month. It could, I mean, honestly, it could be December by the time this transfer goes through. But that's not gonna, that's not typical. I guess you know what I mean.
It's not really what we're planning on either.
It's not what we're planning on, but that's also that's worst case scenario. Not even worst case now, and that's
well,
the
it doesn't
reason.
really matter. Yeah, which was.
That's the reason why we chose
good.
this option is because, our other options were pretty binding. They were, okay, well, if you get an apartment, you have to sign a lease. Well, we don't want to sign a lease.
We don't know how long to sign a lease. So that was a huge variable in trying to figure out a place to stay.
Plus, we couldn't find any places that were just balling, like, something that we wanted.
Not just that, but, you pay, you got to think what you're paying for. In that type of situation, a month-to-month thing is,
mainly going to be people that have to do month-to-month, not people that want to do month-to-month.
And it's, it's not just us. If it was just us, we could do some craziness or whatever. It doesn't matter. But we have a family to think about, so we have to make the best decision based on our family. And we went back and forth, and I was calling hotels, and I was calling extended stays, and we were calling, we were just trying.
With zero time, guys.
We exhausted every avenue that we could possibly think of, and we kept coming back to this. And we had actually talked to a few people about our situation, like close friends and whatnot, and, they were like, well, what about a camper? Jokingly. And, Chris and I were both like, well, that is a subject of our conversation when we get into this. And, we kept coming back to it and just kept coming back to it. And then finally, I think what made it for us was that we have a family to think about, and we have to worry about, okay, what is the easiest way for us to transition from here to there? Now, we don't plan on this being a permanent thing, although I think you might be the one.
No. I think we're all going to really enjoy this.
We're going to super enjoy it, but it is not a permanent thing.
No.
We're not looking at it to be a permanent thing, but it is a very easy way to transition from moving out of the only home that you've known, right? Like us as a family.
Yeah.
And going to a totally different location, but still having your home with us.
Other than the fact that if you buy a home, like a brick and mortar house, that it's not a depreciative asset, where this absolutely is a depreciative asset.
Oh, most definitely.
You're going to lose money on doing this. I don't care what anybody else tells you. I'm really good with the numbers, and when I look at the numbers, this is the depreciative asset where you're going to lose money. But when you think about how much you're going to lose compared to what it's going to cost you for an apartment, or what it's going to cost you, what it's going to cost you for moving trucks, or if you do things like getting somebody to move your home, right? See, what we have done was we have sold everything in the house now. We own nothing but what we have here and what is in it. And when we get down to Florida, we have about a year plan maybe to be in here. And when we get down to Florida, it's going to give us plenty of time to be able to find out where we are, where we want to buy our new home. It's going to give us plenty of time to figure all of that stuff out, the ins and the outs, and we don't have to worry about it because we have a house to come home to. And guess what, guys? When the transfer does go through, guess what we do? We sit in these chairs instead of the couch, and we just drive straight down there. And that's it. It just makes it a lot easier, and the transition, like Mary said, just so much better. Just so much better, man. Less stress.
Because this is, Lucas is more excited than we are, even, because he wants to spend every second in here. I mean, it's all day. Like, you're not here to see this most of the time, but
see, my thing is that
he's all day.
I have to pay for it. Meredith has to take care of it, and Lucas just gets to enjoy it. So yeah, Lucas is very excited.
Like the best end of this deal. Yeah, he's got
Lucas
the best end of the deal.
Lucas is excited.
But we want to make this home, and so we are trying to add some of our home touches, like the important things. We have gone through our house and then gone through our house again and gone through our house again, and we're downsizing in, square footage, which we didn't really have that much to begin with, which was good.
We have had this home is a very small home, and we've loved our home.
Loved it.
We've loved it. We bought this house 10 years ago, and it has fit us perfectly. So, but ultimately, we felt, we just released this last video, part 5, moving to Florida, and we felt the need to kind of elaborate a little bit on what it was that we had just done. And it's my fault for not doing more video down when I was in Florida. But like I said, by the time I got there, got all the paperwork done and went through the orientation of this thing, going through orientation on one of these things is
time consuming.
It's
very mind boggling.
It's like going back to high school, okay? Like this thing has a basement in it. All right, it has a huge generator that is completely self-sufficient. So no matter where you are, even if you're not at like an RV resort, you can plug this, you can be anywhere and still have fresh water, still have all your electricity, all the TV, the air conditioners, everything running off of the generator. And the generator is built into the unit. It has a black water tank for your poo-poo and a gray water tank for...
The poo-poo tank.
A gray water tank for your sink and the showers and stuff like that. And the washer, dryer, know. So this thing is, we can go anywhere, we can do anything, we can go visit family if we want to, we can stay at RV parks, we
might even...
We're free! We are free!
That, and, we might even decide to, take a little mini vacay somewhere, just because we don't have to worry about, does this hotel accept dogs, or do they have room on such short notice, because everything we do is short notice. So
that's a really big deal. That's a really big deal for us, is to have that type of freedom to where we can go see and be wherever it is that we want to be.
House.
That's right. The only bad thing really about this, other than they are super expensive, the next bad thing next to them being super expensive is the gas. So I drove from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, back home, and it costs about $450 to drive here. That costs about double what my plane ticket. I took 2 planes, ladies and gentlemen, 2 planes to get down there.
Serious?
I was mad. Is what I was. I was so upset. It cost me about double the price of my plane ticket to get down there. So it was $450 to drive 815 miles, somewhere in that range. So
let me just sidebar you for a second and say that is not what we're going to be doing with this.
No, that's not the plan.
That is now we know how much, not even, because that was way south of where we're going to be anyway, but we can account for what it's going to take for us to get to Florida. And so, now we know. I mean, you live, you learn, and that is a good thing to know. But that's not what we're going to be doing with this. So it doesn't really matter. That's not really something I feel like is going to be on the front burner.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to affect us at this point, going forward. But it's still, like I said, it's a point to make for you guys out there that are thinking.
Anybody
about
who's thinking about
Absolutely.
full timing, and that's what we have been watching so many YouTube videos on people who do this. We've been looking on. I've been looking on Instagram and following people and stuff, trying to figure out what is everybody doing, because there's just so many people that do this, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, this is going to be fun. I think we're over 15 minutes now, so we're going to go ahead and close this out. But guys, this is going to be exciting. This is the start of a new journey for us. We're going to stop with the moving to Florida part and kind of transition back into what it was that we were doing, which is what we love to do, and that's just be us. And then once
our thing.
once we start getting stuff, hearing stuff back about the transfer and stuff like that, we'll get back onto the Florida thing. But for right now, guys, we're just gonna enjoy what it is that we do, which is what we do.
And I'm gonna like totally nest and mother hen this place up a little bit.
Do you, boo boo?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Round it out,
All right.
guys. Y'all be good out there. Peace. So what about a name for this thing?
I was really thinking of just letting Lucas name it, but then Lucas's first instinct to name everything is just Lucas.
Alright, so guys, we need y'all's help. There's a comment section right below. We need help with figuring out a name for this because we keep calling it the RV,
the camper,
the motor coach,
the second home.
We need like a name. We have to name this thing. And no, it's not going to be White Lightning or, we need something creative and something that's.
Yeah, we thrive on creativity, like all of us do.
Yeah.
Actually, we're very creative, and we get inspired quickly, and we want to create. And I think this space is actually going to really make that happen even more, which I'm excited about.
So we
More
can't.
to come,
We can't come up with a great name for it. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna allow.
We're still going to be thinking about it. Though.
We are, but we're gonna allow you guys to help us. Comment below on a cool name. You know what we do. You know who we are. We're one loving family. So try to incorporate something like that into the name. Type it in below, and maybe we'll end up choosing somebody's
one of the names.
One of the names down there.
Maybe it will inspire us.
We need inspiration right now.
I do. Because you know what? I really just drew blanks on this. I couldn't think of a name. Usually I'm like this on that, but nope, not this time. This is a tough one.
We call it the poop carrier because it has a big poop tank.
That's just one thing I just don't like, in the house you don't think of poop.
That's why you have a man.
Just goes away.
Yeah. Don't worry, baby. I'll clean out the poop tank.
Good, because I'm not going to do it.
Peace out, guys.
Not
Y'all have a
ever.
wonderful week, and we'll see you next time.